Good afternoon. This is Robert Paltz on a fairly nice afternoon. It's Valentine's Day here, and this is what I'm doing on Valentine's Day, believe it or not. Okay, today we're going to take and talk about an AI analysis of a Civil War pension diary that was James Stewart Kennedy, and it's a log of his Civil War, but it was done after the Civil War, considerably long time. And I'm doing this for the Oklahoma History Society for identification of items in record collection 2011.298. And this is the best I know about it. So I'm trying to take and document the different items that are in that collection. And this happened to be one of them. It's time to take and put it into Auta Kennedy's file. And I started doing this. I'm neither a professional nor an expert genealogist, just an amateur, just like the rest of the genealogists out there. I don't delete my errors, although I don't think I'm going to make many today. We'll see. This is a collaborative effort. I'd like to have you feedback what you think about this and how you think I'm documenting this. Be useful to take a know, and some of the conclusion I do have on the date would be very interesting to hear from you. I want to thank everyone that's been making comments. I've got a to-do list, believe it or not, today. This is not one of the to-dos, but I will get to it. I also do these videos so you can take and slow them down and speed them up. People feel like I go pretty fast sometimes, and this one would be a real good one for that because I'm going to go through some AI stuff, and you might probably want to take and pause it on each one of the pages as I page through it because I'm not going to take and put those up as individual slides. There's just too many of them. All views expressed are mine. Like I said, I'm not a member of it. I don't represent any genealogy society or anything, or history society. And if you have any of those surnames, please take and come join us on our Facebook sites so we can take and discuss them. Okay. Um, when I received this collection from my aunts, um, the in it was this diary, which they had never discussed with me. So it was a total new one to me. And it was leather bound, and it had this on the back of it. You keep you neat. And that's a Guthrie, Oklahoma address. Okay. And here are the pages that are in it. The first page is Mrs. B.W. Pulse, which is Auta Kennedy. And let this alone, please. Okay. Without me thinking about it, that probably established the ownership for this diary or this series of notes. It's probably not a diary. So as you go through this, you'll see it's the war record of James Stewart Kennedy. Now, James Stewart Kennedy, this is his, if you want to look it up, this is his ID on Family Search. And this is his record. I'm fairly familiar with him. I've done a lot of research on him. He's Auta's father. And so he goes through all of his information here, or she goes through and is interviewing him, I would assume. And this is the information she's putting down. You'll notice that the script is all in the same ink and it's going all at the same time. So this is being done at one time. That's until you get to the back of it, and then those are different ink and everything. So she's copying this all down as he's telling it to her. Now this is a father talking to a daughter, and this is considerable time frame. Is at least 40 years have passed, maybe even more. And if we go through it slide by slide, I'm just putting it up here so you can take and see what we're dealing with. Okay, and now we're going to go into different handwriting or different ink and an address. This is Ethel May Braithwaite. She married the Greaves person that's here, and she is a family member. She is Auta's husband's granddaughter. Da 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 da. Auta's husband's not granddaughter. Uh, well, she's anyway. She's part of the family. I have to take and draw that one out. And then Sarah Ann Cox, who married a Babcock. And this is my best guess. She is in this area for this address in Arkansas at that time. And so I think that's a pretty good chance. Okay. Let's talk about the date. When was this done? For many years, I thought it was created on the spot by Lieutenant James Stewart Kennedy, who liked to go by Jazz Kennedy. By the way, if you're ever looking for his records, you got to put Jazz Kennedy in there, or the J.S. Kennedy. Those are the two things most of his records are under. And it was perfect size for a soldier to carry in his pocket, and it was leather bound. So it kind of made sense for a soldier to be carrying this around. The technology didn't look like it was anything later than 1860s or earlier than 1860s, but it didn't look like that. And then one day I noticed the first page was Auta Kennedy Paulson. She said, "Don't touch this." That gives you a little bit of idea of what her character was like. She was kind of pretty tough lady. She was living in Oklahoma in the days of the land run, so she was a no nonsense person, and so she didn't exist. I got to exit there. IST. What a letter will make until after the Civil War. For a time, I thought it was the perfect time for I thought the perfect time for Auta to interview her father would be when her took her daughter Mabel Paltz to attend second grade. Mabel Paltz, that's a family story, and I will be documenting that in another video because I need to do personal knowledge template for that for Rich Magic 11, and I'll be using that as an example. That's the plan anyway. And that was in approximately 1902 when Mabel was in the second grade. Next, I noticed that the notebook was put out by Keep You Neat. It took me a long time to find that. I just didn't. I wouldn't. I think Thomas McKenty forced me to take and look at things in detail more, and I started reading everything on the page, not just what I was interested in. And there are cleaners in Guthrie, Oklahoma, and they were in existence up to 1966, I think. At least I found that. So I did a quick search of Keep It Neat of newspapers.com and Gateway to Oklahoma, and here are those searches. Okay, right here is Keep It Neat. I have Keep It Neat. I had to put Logan County because they were in other counties earlier, and I searched it by oldest date. People are interested in the processes I use, so that's the reason why I'm going through this. And you'll see 1909 is the earliest date that they have an ad in the paper. So since, advertising was a key thing to the beginning of a business, I would think that they were formed earlier, really near to 1908. Now, if you want to see the verification, 1977, they're still advertising. Okay. And they're giving money to Langston University in this ad. I found that interesting. So I thought, well, maybe they started earlier, so let's try Gateway to Oklahoma. So I did Gateway to Oklahoma. Again, I sorted it by the oldest date, and I get 1909 in Guthrie. And so in their newest date, let's try the newest date. There we go. Oh, no, the mouse is, and the newest date for them is 1962. So there's a discrepancy of over 10 years there between the two databases. But that, neither here nor there, nor important for what we're doing. Anyway, newspapers.com, Gateway to Oklahoma, seemed to show that that started around 1909. I don't have anything else at newspapers.com or Gateway to Oklahoma to indicate that they were in business before that. It'd be interesting to get a history of that cleaners, but that's another day. Anyway, so we have a fairly complete record of Auta Kennedy's visits to her parents. I've done a lot of newspaper.com research, a lot of Gateway to Oklahoma research, and some Kansas newspapers through the Library of Congress. And I have quite a few newspaper articles. In fact, here, I'll show you. Let me bring this up. Let me bring Auta up. Let me bring this over. So here's Auta Kennedy. And when you take 1909, 1909 right here, I don't have any newspaper articles for her. There's a newspaper article, but that's the First Methodist Church, and that's in Guthrie. And then this is the hat book, which I did another video on. And this is Robert Paul's collection photograph. Okay, that's the photograph of her. And then 1915, uh, social column in Kansas, and social notice family members golden anniversary for her parents. Okay, that's her parents, and then here, let me. Well, there's someplace in there. Oh, this is it. This is what you want. Anyway, she's attending the 50th wedding anniversary, and she's there with her son. And with her husband and 4 children. Oh, okay. Well, that's even different. That's different than what I was looking at before. So that's 1915. That's 22nd April 1915. And so that would be a good time to sit down with her father and talk about his Civil War accomplishments. Long time from the Civil War, so keep in mind this is a long time. So for this period of time, I will be entering this data into Auta Kennedy's timeline for that date. And that's my logic until I find something, a record that says something else, or somebody that's out there knows something that I don't know. That's always the possibility. So let's talk about the demonstration. This is the AI demonstration. I should put AI up here. Okay, AI demonstration, and let's show you what I did with that. Okay, and this is really quite interesting, I thought. All right, so I started out by taking and feeding the pages in there and said transcribe and number the pages in the transcript. Okay, this transcript covers the handwritten notes of James Stewart Kennedy, a soldier in the Union during the Civil War. And it came back and it's got this wrong. So remember hallucinations and AI. So that's wrong. Everybody let this alone, please. Now I did it. This word here is really difficult to read. This up here is not hard to read. So it's an interesting thing for the AI's capabilities at times. And then the war record of James Stewart Kennedy, it got most of this correct. As I went through this, I didn't see anything that concerned me about the translation and transcription. And so it goes through each page. I'm going to go through this kind of slow so you have a chance to take and see how it comes. And then it had cut me off on the number of pages I could put in. And so I took and I wanted to make sure that they were all in there. So I took the second set of pages where I thought it had cut me off and put those in, and it went back through, still doing the same thing. So we have everything should be entered at this point, and as far as I can tell, it is. I can probably put this text on each one of the slides. I hadn't thought about doing that. That would be a useful thing to do, I would think. And then it started giving me historical context and insights. And so kept on going. And I asked it for, what did I ask it for? Yes, to give you a clearer picture of his experience. I thought this was very, very interesting. But I keep worrying about the hallucinations here. And so I keep going down through here, and it talks about the specific things And then it asked me if I want to take and do a military pension records and muster rolls. It was never able actually to find a pension record, although I think I have that. When I get to his files, I'll confirm that. I believe they're in his file. I think I found it on another source a long time ago. I know I have some pay records for him from one of the ancestry sites. So I have quite a bit of information on him. It's just been a long time since I've looked at it, and I will have him next after Auta. I will be updating his records. I'm going through and updating my records for the Irish Channel and my family, and that's part of this project. That's one of the family questions this year. Okay, so I'm going down through this slowly. I can always export this to a spreadsheet. And I've heard this before, the Bloody 11th. They had a high casualty rate and so on. My research has demonstrated that before. So he's a lieutenant in there. He's getting shot above the eye. Later on, it gets one of the things that AI messes up on and hallucinates on is it carries the shot above the eye farther down, and when he's actually down in here where he's this wound that's stressed on the battlefield is a leg wound. So he was shot in the leg. And so anyway, I'm going to let you read this information as I slowly go through it. You'll probably have to pause this. I kept asking it information. So this is the kind of thing that you can expect on 2026, February the 14th, from Gemini AI, what I call AI Ernest Gemini. So I'm getting pretty. I use that so that I have a conversation with the AI, and I keep asking it for more and more things. So if you haven't used AI yet, I suggest that you use it. It gives you a lot of suggestions, and it goes through combat notes. It talks about Libby prison. It talk about Sneaker's Gap exposition, medical trauma, being shot above the eye, the left eye, I think it was, and 1860 is a pretty serious injury. And he came back from that and went back into the war. He went to Libby prison with a shot above the eye and came out of it living. Not a lot of people did that. At the time, and it may seem strange to you, at the time, the South and the North were exchanging soldiers, and he was part of that exchange, and that lasted for a couple of years. I looked that up one time. I found that very interesting. If you haven't studied the Civil War, it's strange. You wouldn't think they would give soldiers back that would then come back and fight again against them, but they were doing that, and they were trading soldiers back and forth. At the beginning of the war, they stopped it about 2 years into the war. Don't quote me on that, but it was a short time in the war. And later on, the Union would allow soldiers to take and pledge to the Union and become part of the Union Army that were Confederates. I don't know what the Confederates did. There were a lot of things that the Confederates did that were different than what the Union did at that point. So anyway, so this gives a detailed, and I found this quite interesting. It started adding context from other sources in here as I went down through and kept asking the questions and medical help. And I asked the questions I have, and I'll probably ask some more because I keep coming up with them today. But this is quite long as it is, so I wanted to take and share with you so you could see this and get some idea of what you can take and expect if you have something like this. Or, I've run, now I'm running probate files and all kinds of files through AI and having it give me at least some hints of what I should be thinking about. And it's making a mistake about this because it keeps going to all these things like this that are addresses that I think Auta added into the back of the notebook. They were in different handwriting, different pens. And so I think she just had 2 pages of paper and she wrote the stuff down while she was there. Gives me more reason to believe the people that she wrote addresses down for could have been at that 50th reunion. They were one of them definitely is a family member, and I believe the second one is a family member. I just haven't been able to actually narrow it down. Now, I asked her what hospital, and it said the most likely was this one, and the next one was this one. Okay. And so I started at and the Christmas reception. I found out that Mary Todd Lincoln was doing this. She was known for doing this, and that was news to me. So he met Lincoln twice. He met one at this reception and one when he was the bodyguard for Lincoln. He and 6 of his people. Uh, and then it talks about the different exhibitions. So I'm kind of proud of this guy. So then I asked for some questions. Review the Library of Congress and National Archives websites and see if you can find any period pictures of the hospital. And it came up with this one. Well, that's not in the National Archives, but when you click on it, it takes you straight to eBay, and here's the Armour Square Hospital in Washington D.C. And they have this picture of it. So who knows? He might be in that picture. I don't know when that picture was taken. It was a Civil War hospital. They have 6 sizes of it. So, yeah. And I would assume that was going to be at the National Archives. Or I would assume that's where it came from. And so it gives you more context about the hospital and what he was doing there and the wards, what they were like. I found this very interesting that Walt Whitman was going through there and writing letters for the patients. That was one of his volunteers during the World War II. I mean, during the Civil War. Oh boy, getting my wars all confused. And since Kennedy mentioned being on crutches after the missile and so on, it keeps on going through the things. Okay, I asked if it had any pictures of the reception, December 25th, 1862. This is a picture, and hey, went to this site in Fold 3, and this is a soldier's feast to remember. And apparently this is talking about the meal in 1862 at the White House. And there on Christmas Day, adorned with pines and so on. 1862, the hospitals threw on a big fist. And this is a whole discussion about that situation that's documented in this. And anyway, and different peoples. So that was a find that I did not have. I'll tell you, I had this picture, but I didn't have any of the information that's in it. I found that picture. Oh gosh, at least 10 years ago, and I've been trying to identify stuff on it. And I've had a lot of help from people. Collaboration is really the name of the game in this, because there's always somebody that knows a little bit more about this than you do. And so this is a little bit about that. I'm going through this slowly so you can read it. I know it's going to take a while. Okay. And so I got all this string of information. And looky here. They even have a name. Kennedy's Group from Butler, Pennsylvania has this name. And I'll show you where they got that, where AI got that in a minute. I was fascinated by that. This is thrown out so much more detail, and this didn't take long. And I've been doing research in this area for a long time. Probably one of the first things I started out doing research on. I've done a lot of presentations with this, what I would like to still call a diary, although it was written a lot later than a diary would be. And so I just kept on going. I'm trying to keep my mind on doing this. Okay. Here's some of the history of the 11th and the reviews that they went through. Here's Lincoln there again. Here's Lincoln again. They were the body bearers of Lincoln's body. This Pennsylvania unit was. That was Battery C. It wasn't D. But anyway, the unit was there. And I wanted to know more about the wagonette. Now, I had pulled a picture of a wagonette, and it was a two-wheeler. And I just couldn't see him with the injuries he had in that thing. And I was trying to figure out how that worked. Well, he's on a bed of straw. And this is where they got those shots. And this is from an Army site. And you go down through here, here's a whole bunch of Civil War Army sites. There's one. That's in a reenactment, obviously, because it's color for one thing. And then we have this. And this is a Civil War ambulance. It's black and whites, and it looks old enough. I would say this is around a 1920s picture. I don't think I put it in the 1890s. But anyway, it's what a Wagoneer looked like. Here's the back picture of it. Great set of pictures that it's found here for this information. So I'm going to give I'm going to try and remember to put the string in the description so that you can take and go through here. If you find any of these URLs that'll help you, please let me know. I like to be helpful to people at times, so this might be fun to see if it actually did something for you. Anyway, there's a lot of pictures of military activity. Another picture of the wagon, and various things here on this military site. So if you have military any years, it looks like there's quite a few sites there. So, and the vehicle talks about the vehicle had no springs in it, so the only thing that you had was this bed of straw. So he's sitting there with a damaged leg, going down rutted roads. It takes a week for him now, and Maryland and Virginia roads to take and get to a railroad that can take him to D.C. to a hospital. Now, the trip on the train was short, but the trip to get him to the train station was a week, and he's bouncing around on a bed of straw for that time. Got to tell you, this guy had to be tough. And here it is. They're talking about it here. And it's 60 miles, see? And they're averaging less than 10 miles a day. And so that clogged, and the roads were clogged with thousands of wounded. It's remarkable that it's still, the AI is hallucinating that it's the eye problem, but it's actually a leg problem. And so the eye problem was in Andersonville. So apparently it wasn't a really bad eye problem because he went back in after he was mustered out. So it's giving me a detailed timeline. I keep asking for details. And then it talks about another thing that showed up in the description in the diary. And so it keeps on providing more details. And it asked me, would you like to look at specific details, the Rebel sniper incident and skirmishes his company was involved with during the 1962 Pennsylvania campaign, Peninsula campaign? And so, of course, I said yes. And so it goes down through and it goes through more of this. And so I'm getting all types of campaign names, group names, and stuff like that are new to me. And like I said, I've been working on this for a while. And so here he goes. And he keeps using this contact information in Coffeyville, Kansas. I don't know where they got that because I don't find a Coffeyville address. So finally I said, look, consolidate everything in the string concerning military activities, provide a detailed timeline, and include a source URL for each item on item line beyond the diary. Include the document, the pictures, and the URL where the pictures can be obtained. Okay. Now, so this proved to be really interesting. So first thing it gives me is the Antietam website. And so here he is right here. This is him. So I would have given an arm and a leg for this at one time. It's so much information. And then here's the national park, and here's the Pennsylvania. Now, this summary didn't, I don't think existed when I was doing my last research. So genealogy has advanced so much. And here it goes back to the Antietam website. Here's the Civil War index for the 11th. Now, looky here. This is a gold mine, absolute gold mine, which I have not downloaded. We're downloading that right now. Download. Okay. Save. Okay, I'm downloading that right now. I have not. I sat here and read this and didn't download it. I bet you guys don't make mistakes like that. I do it all the time. And anyway, look at this. I go down through here. You know, I company D, B, or company B, or company C, and we're company D. And right here, J.S. Kennedy, First Lieutenant, and there he is at South Mountain. He was discharged for South Mountain. Okay, and there's a whole story about South Mountain that is dug out. So here's the whole story of the unit and all the people in it and everything. I did not have this. I have tried to recreate this, but this is a document that's 31 pages long and keeps on, got all the people that were involved in it. I think I'm going to transcribe that. Those people are going to be good friends, neighbors, and associates to take and research when I get to doing Kennedy again. Anyway, so I went through. Let's see. That was a Civil War. Here's the battle details. So here's the battle details. That's the same one that we had before. Try not to take it. And then here's the Wikipedia article on it. And this is where they got Butler County. And here's the group right here. They were called Rangers, which is kind of interesting. I don't know. I don't remember hearing that before. It showed up if you recall, it showed up earlier so the AI learned it. Encyclopedia of Virginia. Here's Libby Prison. Here's a story about Libby Prison, what it's all about. There's the exterior of Libby Prison. It used to be a tobacco warehouse, and they converted it into a prison. So they've got all types of information about it. Living conditions were not very good. And so this to me is, I've looked up Libby Prison before, but I did not receive this detail. This is, here's escape and punishment. Well, he didn't escape. He was exchanged. Let's see if they have something on here on exchange. I didn't go down that far. The end of the war. Nope. Okay. All right. Going back to this. So we went to Libby Prison. That was in the archives. NPS unit details. NPS unit 2. I think this we've already seen. Yep, we've seen it. So American Battlefield Trust. Okay, that's a new one. So here's the Battle of South Mountain. Now, I'm telling you, I put pieces of this together, and it took me forever. I mean, we're talking years here. And this AI did it in minutes. The White House Historical Association. Supposedly, there's some information here about the White House in that time frame. I have not found it. I don't know why it went there, but I've had to play around with some of these, and we're going to talk about some of that in a minute. Okay, here's the one we're going to talk about. The first one is, this here is the hospital and at the Library of Congress. Now, when you click on the link, it goes straight to it. Look at that. This is the only one I'm afraid that does it. Anyway, but this is what the hospital looked like from the outside. You can see the White House often. This is where the space museum is today. So But the next one is, let me get this right here. Okay. And do this. And it takes you to the National Archives catalog. And then you go to the National Archives catalog. Now, what I found is ITEM, and put that in and do the return. No colon. You put a colon on there, you're going to get different. And then it comes up with, here's that number. It's a NAID colon number. If you put NAID colon in that number, you won't get this picture. And there it is. And doesn't that look a whole lot like that one picture where they were talking about going to the White House for the party? I mean, that building looks just like the same picture, and that was supposed to be the hospital he was in. But you don't see the Capitol behind it. So I don't know. It's got two pictures, and and they're different resolutions, I think. So anyway, that's a good one. Now that one was successful. Now the National Museum, this was a 52. Let's take this number. And it takes me to the National Archives. And now I put in item. Don't ask me how I figured out this works. And it doesn't go to it. And I've tried all different combinations to try and find that picture. But let me show you something. No, it doesn't work on this, but the pictures up above, if you just struck it on the pictures, you could go to them anyway. So anyway, it gave me a summary. This document consolidates its military service. Does it? It asked me for something. Oh, would you like to look at hospital admissions records? It was never able to find any. It just repeated what it had done. As far as I can see, this is identical, except that he's got more diary. Every time it changes, he changes the timeline and the references. And let's see. Yep, that's the same one. And there's the 50. Yeah, I recognize those numbers. And interior of the White House. This again went to the Library of Congress, and we have a hallucinated because we're at a telephone party line instead of the White House. So be real careful when you take this. It can be helpful, but it can also lead you down the wrong path if you take it verbatim. But treat it like hints. That's what I'm doing. And it's hints to records. And man, it's finding records I haven't found, but it's also finding things that don't exist. So my recommendation is try your best with it. And here we go. We're doing the same thing again. So I kept going back and I kept going back, and printable PDF summary. It gave out a thing here, but it didn't give me a downloadable PDF. I have a real difficult time figuring out how to do that on here. If somebody knows how to do that, please leave me some information. Okay. And it just rearranged things. I don't know if I've tried this one. Nope. We're back with the lady on the phone. Okay. Summary of service. And I have done nothing but got more patriotic here sitting here with this information. I don't think. Oh, yeah. When it went through it this time, let's see. Okay, we got that. And here's a new document. When it goes through and you keep on asking it, saying yes to those things, it keeps on trying to take and here's another document. This is Pennsylvania Roots. Okay. And so you've got more information on the prison and the Bull Run and all the things that the 11th was involved in. So more things to research, and I haven't done this one either. And this is not downloadable, so that's going to be more work I need to do today. And then it goes to soldiers and sailors, which I have been to, and I believe I have this, but I don't have the updated version of this. This has been updated since I was here last. And I found some things in here about this. And then now you have clickable links in here. If you didn't have those before, it talked about what they did, but you didn't have clickable links. Let's go to South Mountain because that's where he was injured. Okay, and there it is, Maryland campaign. So anyway, more stuff. Libby prison records. Let's see what that's. This is the NRA. Yeah, see, you're going to have to take and find it in the NRA. Apparently, the NRA doesn't have permanent URLs. And Antietam casualty records. So you got all the Stewarts and stuff like that. I had not looked at this. Didn't look at this. Okay, that's going to be worth going through. Anyway, started taking the White House history. We 11th Reserve roster. Second, we've been there. Okay. Recognize them. The Wagoneer. That's at the government archives again, and that's at the government National Archives. The National Archives could be shut down. You know, they're having problems. Library of Congress. Let's see where this goes. Nope, we're still going to the lady with the old time telephone. And then it gave me a place to take and research Civil War pension files. I recognize her, and I view her YouTubes all the time. So I will be doing that probably today. And then I said, I gave it some more information. I said, I gave him who these people are. Okay. Mainly because I was developing this presentation and I had written that all out. So I just put it in there and said, let's see what happens when he has that. And he went down through it and reprinted it. You'll notice there some of the things are not there that are in some of the other reports. So you got to use all of them and just keep churning. And Ernest will take and give you something. And it just keeps trying to take and find more information. And it gives you more information about him now that they know who he is. And here's a verification now. And it just keeps on making me feel more and more comfortable with its word. Oh, I haven't done this. I've not looked at this. Well, that's the same thing. Keeps on going back there. And now it keeps everything goes National Archives. Just you have to do a search again. And Library of Congress East Room. Is that going to be the telephone again? Yep. Somehow that is not keyed in properly. How to order Civil War pension records. That goes back. I bet you that goes to her YouTube. Yep. Yep. That's her YouTube. And so anyway, that's what I did. And I thought you would enjoy that. What have I got here? Okay, this is what's in collection at the Oklahoma Historical Society. The first group is the Pulse family, and the second group is the Kearns family. Third group is the Bates family. Then we have the McDonald and Jackson families. Then we have the genealogical research, which needs to be updated. And I promise them I keep on doing that. And then documentation of various volunteer activities my wife and I did when we were in Eastern Oklahoma. We were involved in I did represent societies there. And so if you're doing any Eastern Oklahoma research and you're looking for bodies, when they made Great Lake Eufaula, this is where the The local ranch and farm grave sites were moved when they made the lake. When they went through and they identified all the graves, they dug out what was there and they moved them to consolidated sites, larger cemeteries, very formal. And they put gravestones where there weren't any gravestones before. Uh, and then the immigration records, that's like 10 volumes of immigration records. Only one of them exists on Ancestry. So they may have started to take and digitize those now. But at the time, uh, Pittsburgh County Genealogy Society had possession of the physical books. And then when I finished this project, I donated those. I had the society donate those to the Oklahoma Historical Society. So they're in a separate collection from this. The books are, but the digital copies are in this collection because they're part of the document, the DVDs or the stick memories of these digital scans, and the Eastern Oklahoma Railroad facilities. And then I was involved with the Eufaula Area Museum for a while. And this is how we built the transportation exhibit. It was a fun project, and I still do research on it. Here's the playlist for my Oklahoma Historical Society playlist, and here's my contact information. I can't tell you how important it is to have you do a thumbs up and subscribe. It really keeps the juices going, so I'll keep on doing this. Sometimes I get well, nobody's reading these, but if you give me a thumbs up, it tells me that you at least looked at it. Give me a thumbs down if you don't like it. I don't care. I know somebody looked at it. They had opinion about it. Give me a comment. Tell me why you don't like it. I'll try and improve. Please comment on additional topics. Like I said, I've got a to-do list now. People are asking for things that they see me do that they want to understand better. From my perspective, which is not necessarily a pro's perspective. And I do appreciate your time. It's very important to me that people look at this. The turnout and the views have been outstanding. I want you to know. I really am flabbergasted that so many people are interested in my ramblings. So here we go. I'm going to try and stop everything, and then I'm going to try and end this. You all have a great day.